Hey guys, this is Red and Blue, the channel on YouTube for all things PSG in English. Please subscribe. Today, let's talk about a Mercato rumors that doesn't seem to want to die anytime soon. We're getting reports coming out of Spain, not from ultra reliable sources, I'll say that outright, saying that PSG is getting ready to make an 80 million euro offer for Barcelona midfielder Gavi, who has been linked with PSG before, who came out, I think, in June of this year, so like at the beginning of this transfer window, saying he wasn't interested in moving away from Barcelona. But yeah, those rumors keep going, keep happening, and now we've got a number to it. And there's a couple of reasons why I wanted to bring this up. First one, for like it's a great player. It's an amazing player. And my God, if he came to PSG, like, man, I'd be like celebrating and shouting from the rooftops. So, let's talk about this and dream a little, because this is Mercato and this is what we're supposed to do. And second one, I think like it actually like makes a lot of sense from a Luis Enrique perspective, and it actually fits with a lot of what we've been told in terms of the priorities of the club and the strategy for this Mercato. So I wanted to bring it up. First, let's step back. If you don't know Gavi, he's a 20-year-old midfielder from Barcelona. He came out of their academy, so out of La Masia. He's been active for a few years now. He started with Barcelona very, very young. I think he was 16 or 17. So he's been, playing with Barcelona more or less for 3-4 years. And actually, like, he was called very early to the Spain national team by then national coach Luis Enrique. So they do have a long-standing relationship. Luis Enrique is known to be a big, big fan of the player. And yes, this plays into it. So like I said, 20-year-old is going to be turning 21 in a few weeks. Is generally one of those players. I think he started initially, was playing on the left wing of attack, and he's been brought down a little bit from attacking midfielder or like a number 10 position, now all the way to a 8/6 position. So very much into central midfield. He's a typical Barcelona midfielder in the sense like highly, highly technical, kind of small in stature as well. He's like 1 meter 73. So not the tallest guy around. And yeah, like very, very technical, very, very versatile, very high intelligence of the game, very high football IQ. And yeah, he's been known to boss the midfield, both in terms of, contributing to the attack, organizing the game, making runs into the opposing area and scoring goals with a great shoot. Or also like, coming more onto as a defender, and, put like finding the right positions to cut off the opposition attacks, handling transitions very well. And like I said, like playing in a sort of like Vitinha kind of role. So this very cerebral midfielder, bossing the midfield, dictating the tempo of the game, finding great passes, and kind of like being the maestro of the game. I've called Vitinha the maestro for us a few times. This is exactly the kind of players that we're looking at. I think he's slightly more of a vintage Vitinha. So Vitinha before he dropped back down in the number 6 position, in the sense that Gavi, he can really like go into the opposing area, make runs, and score goals as well. So slightly more of a more offensive presence, slightly higher up in the pitch. And I think, he's a player that's been plagued with a few injuries early on in his career. I think he's torn his ACL, I want to say a couple of years ago now. But yeah, he's the kind of player who has had like some struggle or another with injury, and so that's really held him back in terms of progression. It's also a danger of young player who start getting first team football very early on, and they're not entirely finished their in terms of their physical development. They tend to be, in general, and like very wide net I'm casting out there, they tend to be more prone to injuries, and that's certainly been the case with Gavi. which has held back his career a little bit. I think initially when he started playing with Barcelona and then with the Spain national team, he was really looked at as the new Xavi or Iniesta, like that kind of very, very high impact, high intelligent midfielders. And I think the last couple of years, he's had like decent game time, but he always struggled to make himself a first team regular. And I think last year with Hansi Flick, he was more of a substitute option, coming after like the starting pair of Pedri and Frankie De Jong. So he's more of an option in the rotation in Barcelona. I think for a talent like this, it's a question mark in terms of whether he's gonna be happy with this sort of playing time, and also like whether physically he's gonna be able to give more game time to the teams than what he's been able to do. I think, from a PSG standpoint, a couple of years ago, I would have said like, oh, that's, exactly the kind of player that we don't want. A player who's known to be somewhat weak physically or like at least prone to injury. But now that we seem to have fixed Dembele, now that we seem to have fixed Dembele, anything can happen. I'm more than happy to take a chance on this sort of player. So that's essentially like that's Gavi in a nutshell. If you ask me, like I said in the intro, very, very exciting player, and someone that I can definitely see like fit in our midfield. And yeah, one last thing I didn't mention as well, I wanted to mention is his mentor. And I think he's a player who's known for having really like a lot of fighting spirit in him. Sometimes it gets even like to borderline. He comes off as borderline arrogant, but he's been, one of those players who doesn't give up, who gives it all on the pitch, who contributes massively to a team. He's been like one of the main, like the leaders in the dressing room for Barcelona, like out of all of the kids coming out of La Masia. And so a fairly important player for them from that perspective, and really like exactly the kind of mental attributes that Luis Enrique and Luis Campos are very fond of as well. Players who are prepared to take risk, but also like never give up, give it all on the pitch, are very passionate about football as well. So yeah, Luis Enrique knows him well from that perspective, and I think Luis Enrique, like, it's been a rumor, I think, like basically every 6 months to a year with Luis Enrique that he's talking to Gavi because he loves the player and he wants to bring him to wherever he is at the moment. And right now it's PSG, and yeah, like I said, like great player. So if we could, like, definitely happy to do. Why are we talking about this? From a PSG standpoint. So the articles that coming out of Spain are saying we're essentially looking at him as a potential mid to long-term replacement to Fabian Ruiz. Same kind of player in the sense of a player that can contribute on both sides of midfield, contribute into the attack and contribute into the defense as well. And in terms of playing style, in terms of technicity, in terms of versatility, and in terms of football IQ, exactly the kind of players that we like to have into our midfield. For me, I would say, like, I think he's slightly short and kind of worrisome to me a little bit that we keep buying those very short players. That said, we won a Champions League with it, so hard to complain about it. He's also a right-footed player when Fabian Ruiz is actually our only left-footed midfielder. And so, it'd be good to keep having a left-footed player in there, just because they can find different lines of passing and play into different spaces. But yeah, those are admittedly like pretty tiny limitations. And then, like, from a PSG standpoint as well, we've been told, and like one of the things that PSG has aimed to achieve this Mercato window is bring a bit of depth into midfield. And I think initially, like we all thought it meant another like 18-year-old player who could come in, develop, and potentially challenge the starting three in a few years. But then a few weeks back, we heard that PSG was looking for someone experienced. And I think everyone took experienced, the word experience, to mean someone old. And I've been hearing actually like pretty great point of view in some of the podcasts that I listen to on PSG, that from a Luis Enrique perspective, experienced absolutely doesn't mean old. It means someone who's been in the game for a while. And I think Gavi, like even if he's 20-year-old, like I said, he's been at the top levels for 3-4 years. Playing with the national team, playing with Barcelona, playing in the Champions League, playing in La Liga. So he's a player who's, he's got a decent career behind him already, even if he's at a young age. So he definitely qualifies to fit this description of experienced, at least as per Luis Enrique. And so why is it not entirely crazy? Well, for all of those reasons, I think from a PSG standpoint, you bring in a Gavi for like the articles in Spain are saying we're preparing an offer of 80 million euro. Currently on Transfermarkt is valued at 60 million euro. So yeah, if we get it, like if we make an offer at 80, 90 million, more than happy with that. From Luis Enrique's perspective, we know he's a big fan of the player. We know he fits the game and the playing styles that we're trying to put in place. We know that it'd be additive into our midfield. And I think, even if Fabian Ruiz has really, like, this season lived up to the promises that we've seen in other clubs or with the national team, there's definitely still room to have depth in this midfield. And I think a Gavi realistically would come in, could potentially cover for Fabian Ruiz, or even like take Fabian's first team spot. Could also help cover for Vitinha when we need Vitinha to rest. It could even like play a little bit higher on the pitch as necessary. So it does add a lot of options. And yeah, it's definitely someone who could fit within the mold. And then from a Barcelona perspective, obviously Barcelona has been going through financial turmoil for the longest time. What we are hearing now is that they want to make one big sale this Mercato window, so they go back to being able to invest as much as they get in under La Liga financial rules. Right now, they're constrained in terms of how much they can spend when they sell a player, and so they do want to get back to this better position. There's been rumor about Fermin Lopez being that big sale and potentially going to Man United for 70 million euro. It's everyone's opinion whether it would make sense for the player to make that move to Man United. There's been talk about like a few different subs also like being sold, but then like would they really be sold for enough money to really like bring in the revenues that Barca is hoping to get? So there is a word in which it makes sense, and I think even from the player's perspective, is a Barcelona player through and through. Like I said, like at the beginning of the window, he said he wanted to stay in Barcelona. So complete long shot. Like, don't read more into this than that. But he's also like very, very close with Luis Enrique. He's got a lot of respect for the coach. He's also, like I said, the coach that gave him his first call with the national team. So they do have a rapport and a relationship. And for Gavi, realistically, like, yeah, he comes third or fourth in the pecking order in Barcelona in midfield after Pedri and De Jong and so on. And so at 20 years old, like, how long is he going to accept this situation? There comes a time where, like, we've got a World Cup to be played with Spain at the end of the year. Isn't he better off taking a chance and maybe getting more football time with a coach who absolutely adores him and really wants him? Barcelona gets the money that they need to continue their rebuild and maybe get some different players in. And yeah, Luis Enrique gets what he wants. So it seems like there's a world in which this deal would make sense for all parties. And I think, the short of it is really like, can Luis Enrique convince the player? Because that's what needs to happen. If that happens, anything can then unfold. If it doesn't happen, it's just a moot point, and the player is a Barcelonista, and so that will be the way it goes. We'll see. Barcelona is in Asia right now. They're playing their last game in Korea tomorrow. And then after that, they're going to be heading back to Europe. I think from a PSG standpoint, we're going to see things accelerate in terms of transfers this week because the players are getting ready to come back to training. And so I wouldn't be surprised if anything were to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if we started hearing more about this during this week. We'll see if that's the case or not. Right now, it's just a few rumors coming out of Spain, so you can put as much trust into that as you want. But yeah, man, Gavi to PSG, like, not only would it be Luis Enrique's dream come true, honestly, like, it'd be a lot of supporters' dream come true as well. So we'll see. No pressure then. We've got other things coming on anyway. And so, yeah, like, I think right now for PSG, the focus is on finalizing Zabarni, which seems to be awfully close. There's already a rumor of a deal being struck, so hopefully we get good news in the coming days. Chevalier, same thing. Like, it seems we're like an inch apart with Lille in terms of those negotiations, so that could happen very soon as well. You had a midfielder, and we're starting to be cooking, man. Like, it could be interesting. So we'll see. We'll keep you posted on all of those things anyway. So stay tuned. Like I always say, please subscribe to the channel. The button is somewhere here. So hit that button to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell after to get notified every time I drop a video. Please subscribe. Please leave a like on this video. And please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about Gavi. Do you think, obviously, like, pipe dream a little bit, but like, would you be excited? And do you think there's any chance of this deal happening? And don't forget, in Korea for Barcelona, in holiday for PSG player, or anywhere you are, ici c'est Paris!